Welcome back, and we have Bruce McKEEMAN here for Hyperbaric Dives, and we have two segments we have lots of time to talk about today. I want to start off the program with a little different twist. I came out, of course, I like to dream online and on air, and we talked about a whole bunch of ideas that I think your remarkable technology of the best ergonomic hyperbaric chambers needs to be brought to the public in every way. And one of the ways that I want to make an offer to our listeners out there worldwide, whether you're in Germany, Uganda, Russia, China, or anywhere, is we're going to offer you a franchise where you can contract with us. We'll send up a franchise agreement where we will give you will be able to be purchasing the plans of how to integrate a mild hyperbaric chamber, one or more, and a mobile van. And also we will contract to let you get the technology and purchase a QRMA, the 8D LRIS, or even upgrade up to the MetaTRON. And you can start off simple with just a QRMA and maybe the 8D LRIS. And it can even be set up to generate a morphogenic field while you're getting hyperbaric therapy. You can turn this into a business. You can have one or more. We're not going to put any limit on you. But we will set up an arrangement where once we have an agreement, all you simply do is be paying us a franchise fee back for how much work or business you generate. In other words, you're not going to have a giant buy-in like a lot of franchises where you pay a large amount of money to buy into the franchise. All you have to do, basically, is make an agreement to pay us for the work that you generate. We also have an exclusive that you'll only sell our nutraceutical Nutrimeds, and you'll only use us for the diagnostics, whether it's the QRMA, 8D LRIS, or the MetaTRON, and only use exclusively the mild hyperbaric chamber. So, Bruce, that's a pretty amazing deal, isn't it? When you look at other people selling franchises for hundreds of thousands of dollars to start off, say, a restaurant or some other business, a cleaning company, etc., the idea of being able to just kind of start off, to refurbish let's say, a second-hand motorhome and turn it into a business is an amazing deal anywhere in the world, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I really like the idea of bringing it to the customer.
Right, and by the way, I'm working on
tax issues, etc.
Yeah, and the thing is that we are working now to develop several levels of phone apps. The first one will not only locate your GPS coordinates, but where you want it brought to. And what we may do is, in a particular city, we may move it to, let's say, each of a sector of a city over a period of so many days a week. So so many days a week, it'll be in one area or another, so you won't have to travel more than a few miles. We may have it if we have enough business for the people that are involved there to set up where they will actually come to, say, someone's home or some other area. Most likely they'll come to an area within a mile or so of where you live. So it's a very simple process of getting from there to a mobile therapy van. And we've already proven that you don't need full 100% oxygen. You need much safer mild hyperbaric oxygen with ozone and oxygen concentrator. Totally safe. And literally, there's no health condition that can't be helped with it, but we'll have a Nutrimedical barista where they can actually make, based on your wellness history, which, by the way, we'll have a system where we will know which nutraceuticals you'll need. They can make a smoothie for you right there on the spot. You'll be able to get the morphogenic field therapy, diagnostics with the 8D LRIS. Without having to purchase a machine or whatever, you can actually purchase a consult. The data can be sent. We can even log onto the computer and do an analysis after it's been collected from those sites anywhere in the world. And the MetaTRON literally has a seeker function that actually will find out what the health problem is and even correct your bioplasmatic body. That's the latest version we have, and our scientists from China are coming over in a few weeks to work with them and a Russian scientist, Dr. Nemtsov, and the nonlinear group out of Russia that have licensed the MetaTRON for us to be able to use it now. So this technology is going to be brought to the people. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you could be in South Africa, Johannesburg, Ecuador, Guatemala, to me it doesn't matter where you are. We'll assist you in setting up your own, if you want to call it, satellite. And I think this is the best way for people to do it. I'm also looking at an idea, it's just an idea, of giving people a system where, in a sense, they're a satellite of Nutrimedical, getting points for people that purchase nutraceuticals under them, and will track those as in a sense, an affiliate of us. So I think it'll give people an opportunity, because a lot of people want to say, how can I bring this technology? Plus, remember, the reports were going to automate it, so people will have, the first level is a questionnaire that can be put on an iPad, iPhone, or computer anywhere in the world that'll tell basically, based on your wellness history, eventually will merge with their QRMA and their ATLRS and MetaTRON, so it'll actually tell them diagnostic what advanced confirmatory technologies, whether it's blood work, genetics, organic acids, imaging studies, etc., or specific specialists would be appropriate under the wellness or medical conditions we discover. For example, I had a gentleman just recently, I logged on to his data, and where I was able to analyze and say he needed to see an ET specialist to have an indirect laryngoscopy of his larynx because he was at risk of laryngeal cancer, even though there was no indication or even history of any problem, where our bioplasma NLS analysis indicated there was an issue there. So this technology is going to completely change medicine in the future. It'll allow it to integrate to the right treatments and so on. And in many cases, people aren't going to need more than this. They're just going to not need drugs. They're going to need mild hyperbaric oxygen. They'll need a fitness program and a dietary change. They'll need their own custom supplements, which if they don't like capsules, they can actually do it at home like our barista on the van that will actually come to their home or an area and can actually make them a smoothie on site of exactly what they need for their particular health condition. Pretty neat, eh?
And this isn't new. The American Red Cross has been doing blood drives in firehouses, schools, neighborhoods, company parking lots. So
right.
This is a proven concept.
Right, and it's very simple to do. It's extremely simple. You can be, and you don't have to get fancy. Bruce, I think you've worked out some of the specs already. We have a gentleman up in Los Angeles that want to do a kind of a version of this just with the hyperbaric chambers. You can do it on your own, but if you do it with us, you'll not only be connected to Nutrimedical and have our backing of the technologies for diagnostics and therapy, but you'll have all the integration with advances that are coming down the road. And, of course, Bruce and I will be working together on setting up this franchise. It'll be conjointly between Hyperbaric Dives and Nutrimedical, and I think you'll be very pleased with it. This is not going to require a giant investment. This requires literally a second-hand motorhome, restructured van or whatever. It'll require you to purchase equipment which are going to give you a break in the price for the diagnostic technology in the hyperbaric chambers. In response to that, we will get a percentage of all the business you generate in whichever country you are. So I think, Bruce, that's going to be an amazing deal for people around the world to start taking back control of their health and being able to get a proper, what I call, diagnosis. And it goes along with my book called Dr. You, where I want people to be informed as the best health consumer, just like our parallel jurisdictionary course that teaches them the legal procedure and rules of evidence. In fact, if you master those, and Dr. Fred Graves' book and online course basically allows you to become an expert in any country that has an English-speaking legal system anywhere in the world, including an English-speaking like system like in Russia, China, or elsewhere around the world. So the same thing goes with our medical. This is going to augment and direct people to the proper use of herbals, nutraceuticals, and very minimally drugs, surgeries, etc., and alternative treatments like even cancer therapy. So, for example, someone has cancer, we may refer them to a specific cancer clinic like the ISILS clinic in Tijuana to get a dendritic vaccine, intravenous Laetrile, etc. But then if they get these therapies available, they're going to augment tremendously their health, because there's not a single, what I call, silver bullet for health, but oxygen's right at the top of the list. Oxygen, Nutrimeds, energetic scalar technology, and stem cell therapies. So we're bringing it to you now worldwide. If you want to get in on this deal, you need to contact us, and we will get the arrangements made for a franchise agreement, and you will be in business as an affiliate of Nutrimedical, bringing hyperbaric oxygen and Nutrimed diagnostics and nutraceuticals to people anywhere on the planet. So, Bruce, so part of that system, by the way, I'm entertaining, where to make sure people that are doing this business realize that the customers won't just come directly, we're going to give them an affiliate number, and they won't get paid, but they will get points toward products. So it means if any of their customers, a couple layers deep, they will actually get a number of points toward further purchase of projects which they can resell at our minimum advertised price, and service their people. And they can be a professional trainer, a grandmother that's really interested in nutritional medicine. I had one lady who was very brilliant. She's an insurance super executive that was visiting us, Pam, and her husband Len. And she's become very smart on all these nutraceutical things, read every book she can, not just from us, but from anybody, and listens to the show regularly, and has said basically from the information she got, she has helped several hundred people, and she's like a super executive up in Chicago. So what we want to do is kind of, whether you're a gentleman like our friend Tom in Scotland that wanted to do this some years ago, and we've had a lot of requests, I put together a model where this is how you do it. You do it so you become an affiliate, and you then have the diagnostic capability, the nutraceuticals, and the therapeutic things that can help people heal. Now, there's appropriate times when they need to see a surgeon, a medical doctor, a naturopath, etc., but those times will become significantly contracted. In other words, as I've said before, 20% of drugs are appropriate 20% of the time, maybe. And whenever we can advance nutraceutical medicine, the number of drugs continues to contract until eventually it's down to virtually zero, except in, say, an emergency problem or an anesthesiology if you're having surgery. And what we want people to do is realize if they take control of the whole healing process, a lot of the things we call aging won't happen. You won't need a total knee replacement because you'll be getting mild hyperbaric oxygen, nutraceuticals, and things like micropulse and lumen to regenerate your cartilage and your joints. So you don't need that knee replacement. If you're trying to control back pain instead of rushing in to do all kinds of unnecessary treatments or just thinking that, say, chiropractic or massage alone will fix it, when what you need to do is speed the healing process, you go through the whole, I call the power ones: oxygen, NutriMeds, energetic technology, and stem cell. And yeah, there may be a time when you need a DXR 9000 distraction of your spine, and you may need to have a Cybex to exercise your muscles at a rehab center like the CR Wellness Center that I go to here in Vista, California, with some of the top orthopedic chiropractors in the state. But those times become, very targeted to a specific issue and as part of a spectrum of things that are going to make you heal and avoid surgery like the plagues, avoid drugs like the plague, and avoid interventionary polypharmacy or vaccines that are dangerous to your health. And what I want to do is spread this gospel of wellness, and I think the entry point is, again, oxygen and NutriMeds, energetics, technology, and scalar, the power of ones. Pretty interesting idea, hey?
Pure healthcare system versus the sick care system we have today.
Right, and the nice thing about it is that, let's say we may even have several levels of this. We may have a level where we have like a large van where people can come to a shopping center like a Walmart. We may even have a level of the service that someone says, hey, I'm going to go to some communities where I have some home vans that are smaller that will go to a person's home that's really has that's a home care nurse, but they can't get out even to go to a hospital or an outside clinic. They will literally drive up their driveway and then help them out so they can get in the chamber, get into morphogenic field therapy, get nutraceuticals to help them get sparked up, figure out what supplements they need, get them the diagnostic test to figure out do they need to see an appropriate specialist and what kind of specialist it is in their country, and what kinds of things would be helpful that are out of that spectrum. And again, we're going to provide that. Some of it will be by consultation, where they'll have to consult me directly, and we'll be charging a fee for that analysis if there's a lot of medical records. But a lot of it, as time goes on, I'm going to actually generate algorithms and artificial intelligence and apps, like a phone app with questions on it, a phone app that will eventually merge with their QRMA and their LRIS or even their MetaTRON data. So we'll actually merge that data into one AI diagnostic and therapeutic system to correct their bioplasmatic body, their biochemistry, and appropriately refer when they need to see a surgeon or get a diagnostic test done or an intervention that may be more urgent. And we want to do that so it's much, much quicker and much faster in response than even the regular system, which I think is based on symptom or sign-based medicine, which is late. By that time, you already have pathology. And a lot of time also they don't get the underlying biochemistry. I had a discussion yesterday with my very brilliant dentist, Dr. Jeffrey Curbs, who will be posting up a link on our site. Dr. Curbs, I consider probably the smartest biological and cosmetic dentist I've ever met, and I've been doing research in this area for 35 years on mercury. He's a mercury-free dentist, but he puts in biological materials, and he's an amazing surgeon. And we're talking about this whole idea of poison mitochondria, and I mentioned about the idea of hyperbaric therapy. I mean, when you get people with osteomyelitis of the bone in their jaw, or NECA, or cavitations, things like lumen photon, somopulse, and especially mild hyperbaric oxygen. When you get somebody that's starting to lose their clues and they've got pre-dementia or they're in congestive heart failure, you've got to get a mild hyperbaric chamber. And if you can't afford one, or it's just technically difficult for you to kind of get around to doing it on your own at home, to have a technician come out to your home or nearby is an amazing option that will be available in different countries because people can do it. And even if you get 2 or 3 sessions a week of an hour, it's going to make a remarkable difference in your health, isn't it?
Yes, and for the neighborhood process, I was involved with something in the late 80s where we found a host family, and this was pool therapy, to donate their pool. They got the therapy for free, and we were able to bring lots of customers to that pool.
Wow. See, this is what I call true community therapy. In fact, even community centers could get together and say, hey, we're going to set this up as a sort of a business for our whole community. We want diagnostic healthcare. For example, I talked to our scientists, and Dr. Wang and Michael Chen in China is an engineer with the company 22 years, and they've licensed in the MetaTRON, the 8D LRIS, and fixed the software for the bioplasma and LS to seek, and they've actually set it up so they can set up a sound and what's called a static magnetic field morphogenic field therapy at their treatment centers in Shanghai and Hong Kong. So the Chinese are racing forward on this science in collaboration with the Russians from the Nonlinear Institute with Dr. Nemtsov, who developed it for the Russian Space Agency and the cosmonauts. And when they come in a few weeks' time, we'll be working on the next generation of this. So what we're going to bring to the world is the ability to say, these are the tests. So you can go to directlabs.com or one of the functional medicine labs here or overseas in Europe or South America. You'll be able to order test kits and walk into a lab, or have even some of these mobile centers may even have a person that's certified as a phlebotomist, so they can draw blood, urine, stool, send it off by FedEx to a lab either in their continent or another one, do genetic analysis, and we can even actually sort out genetic abnormalities, metabolic problems, DNA probes to find out what pathogens they have in their system causing different illnesses. We're going to start uncovering, and as we build this database, we're also going to start being able to match it up against genetic and functional medical pathology, I call it, and the database will unveil the underlying causes of many illnesses as well. So we want full access to the database and all these people as well, that allow us to build an AI system to analyze it. So, Bruce, if they want to get a hold of you to get a chamber for themselves, and then you have remarkable prices on your new chambers, the best in the world, your number again is 612-325.
We have a grand
announcement by Bruce McKEEMAN. And again, we'll be posting up a link. The best way to get a hold of Bruce right now, because he's working on his websites, and we'll post up an affiliate associate link, is to call Bruce directly at Hyperbaric Dives at 612-325-8243. 612-325-8243. And if you email me here at Nutrimedical, we'll get things going in terms of the franchise. You have some specials on this summer, Bruce. Can you announce those? And then we're going to bring on Dave and Jean Mitchell, talking about some amazing things in terms of broking and realtor, getting your place away from the big cities and helping you here in America or anywhere in the world. So, Bruce, tell us about your specials.
Yes, I'm going to take my wife's excellent tagline and say, we have a grand summer sale for our Grand Dive chambers. The 40-inch, 8-foot, or 10-foot for $12,995. That's a $2,000 discount.
Wow.
And the Grand Dive vertical for $12,995. That's a $1,000 discount. So it's a grand summer sale, and it's going to be a grand summer.
It really will. And I tell people, if you start incorporating an hour or 2 hours a day in your chamber, and these are big enough, you can actually have an easy chair in there. You can have a small computer desk, like an Air Desk or one of these other ones. You can listen to music because the sidewalls can be hooked up to your iPhone, the literally active speakers. These are amazing. I mean, it's like going to a spa in your own home, and at the same time you're healing your body, you're releasing your stem cells, you're turning off inflammation, and all the Nutrimeds you've taken into your body from Nutrimedical, and all the scalar technologies like micropulse and lumen photon, which you can actually take into the chamber, you're going to dramatically increase the chances of healing. There's no health condition, head to toe, from dandruff to pityriasis ovale to traumatic hand injury to peripheral neuropathy that cannot be healed. Additionally, and more superiorly, by the use of mild hyperbaric oxygen. There really isn't anything. And the cost for you can even have, I think you even have financing available, Bruce, that's available to people.
Yes.
You also have a separate line of machines that have a few of the bells and whistles off, but still the same pressure, that are dramatically less price. Again, all of them can be serviced with a service company that can set you up on a monthly contract to pay to get your chamber in your home. And after even 2 years, if you're silly enough to actually get rid of it, you're going to maintain between 60 and 70% of the value of your chamber if you decide to resell it. And these are very resellable. There's such a high demand, isn't there?
Yes, I am getting daily calls for used chambers, and we just don't have them because per your advice, people are keeping them and using them.
Oh, once they do, they're addicted. They realize, some people say, well, how long should I use the chamber, doc? Because I had XYZ. Let's say they had radio necrosis of bone from chemotherapy and radiation. I said, the rest of your life. How long should I use it for my mom who's got pre-Alzheimer's? I said, forever. How long should I use it myself? Because I'm a we call Ironman athlete in their 50s. I said, forever. If you want to stay really Ironman in your 60s and 70s, you want to do it. So your healing process is enough. You don't get micro injuries, you become macro injuries. So, that's the deal. It's like people are taking that seriously. After they use it a while, they say, nobody's getting my chamber. One thing that's good about it, it won't disappear out the door like a micropulse or a lumen. These chambers are big enough that you'd have to unpack it. It's a little bit of work. But in fact, they're portable so that the Patriots that won the Super Bowl a few years ago, all the 5 of the top team members all had your chambers, didn't they?
Yes, the New York Giants just really enjoyed it, and their star kicker, Weatherford, has convinced several of his teammates to get one also.
Right, and the thing is, if you're in an extreme sport that's getting a lot of injuries from just overactivity and really intense super sports, you want to increase the healing capacity, because as an athlete that gets older, the limitation is not their skill set, because their neurological and their experience increases. It's their body can't heal to repair the injuries they got from the active playing field or even training. And this is the barrier for, we call it, older athletes. The older athlete barrier is not skills, it's the body breaks down. But if you increase the healing capacity, you can extend that lifespan tremendously and also prevent yourself from permanently being disabled post-career. So you're not end up with a post-traumatic brain destruction and inflammatory brain changes, or destroyed back or destroyed joints that, precipitate the need for surgery, or you have chronic disability. You don't want that.
No,
so
not
Bruce,
at all.
Excellent. So Bruce, we will have you back on soon. We'll talk about that. So if you're interested at all in our franchising of our Nutrimedical hyperbaric chambers and Nutrimeds and diagnostics, QRMA, contact us. We'll get you started. We can start at an entry level with the hyperbaric chamber and the QRMA. Minimal cost to you, and you can start having your own business anywhere on earth as an affiliate of Nutrimedical and hyperbaric dives. Amazing. Thank you, Bruce. And we're going to be joined now by Dave and Jean Mitchell. Dave and Jean, are you there? I hear a long pause, so maybe Jean's there. I don't know. Dave and Jean, are you there? I think our board op heard us. I hear a beep. Dave and Jean, are you there?
Hey, Dr. Green, we're here.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Now we have to make sure, Gene, that the humor is all kosher and okay, as we're all Christians here now on the network, and over the top humor. But you're a pretty amazing lady. I think you need to have an alternate career up in Orange County in stand-up comedy. I think it would give you an outlet for all of your energy. And I think we want to bring you on periodically because you're part of this team. Now, Dave is a genius in terms of the realty and the prepping. But you're the what I call the sidekick that is really excellent also, and knowing everything from your chickens to your fruit trees to all the other technologies. Let's start off with the show with what you can do for people either that want to get out of the big cities. Last weekend, Michelle was away for just the weekend, just a Friday, Saturday, with our daughter, and went with her friends to Vegas to see a big show, to see about the Beatles show is what they saw, and then they just literally drove back on Sunday night. And while they're away for a few days, I got a chance to see the movie San Andreas.
Wow.
Now, San Andreas movie was, the special effects were phenomenal. And the place was packed. The first day in America alone, they made $55.3 million. So it blew the box office doors off. The problem is, it was a little bad science. There's not going to be a tsunami. But, in fact, the level of destruction that occurred due to San Andreas was toned down. If there's a 1 meter shift in the upthrust zone in South Los Angeles, those skyscrapers aren't going to fall slowly over a period of so many hours. They're going to fall within 45 seconds. If you're inside a building within 10 miles of a major thrust zone for a major earthquake, whether it's New Madrid in the southeastern United States or San Andreas, or the affiliate subduction zones are nearby up the Cascadia subduction zone along the coast of Oregon and Washington State, which will cause a tsunami. There won't be one off of California. You're definitely going to see a major catastrophe here that will instantly kill millions. Now, people aren't taking this seriously. The first thing I tell people, no matter where you are, whether it's Sao Paulo, Brazil, and there's 24 million people there, the largest city in the Southern Hemisphere, you're in LA, New York, whatever, is number one premise that I teach in terms of prepping, and I'm learning to get much, much simpler when I tell people is, number one, prep for 96% of the things that are going to happen that are minor. 2 or 3 days of no power or water or whatever, and that's going to get fixed. But there's 4% of the time when a disaster is going to strike that's going to go longer than 4 days to 2 weeks. And these disasters are going to kill a lot of people. And a lot of people may be killed by other people that are going crazy because they're dehydrated and hungry and violent. The major disasters like earthquakes are increasing worldwide, and San Andreas, when it does go, because it's already overdue, will probably kill upward of the quarter of the population of California, which is upward of 10 million. And it'll do it really quickly, within hours. It's not going to take a long time. And then over the next few weeks, loss of power, sewage, food, etc., will start to degrade the population dramatically. So we're not talking about 6 months for a 90% reduction. We're talking about 6 weeks. We want to get into this to kind of tell people, if you're in a big city anywhere in America, get the heck out now. Get Dave and Jean to help you, whether it's out to another part here like Southern Cal, which is an ideal place. You're upwind to nuclear reactors. You're in an area you can grow food. And if you're in another country, they can help you and connect with brokers. But when we come back, we're going to talk to Dave and Jean, the other part of the team, the funny part, in just a moment. Dave and Jean. Dave, tell us about what you can offer people here that want to get out of the big cities, get into a nice, we call rural or semi-rural community, or even get a prepper community set up, not just in Southern California, but you can help people anywhere in the country or in the world if you can help brokers. I honestly think that, despite the, I call it the communist, control freak democratic government, I call the West Coast the best coast, and Southern California here, especially rural Southern California, now where you are in Alpine and so on, some of the best places to grow food and be safe from upwind of any nuclear reactors, as many, unfortunately, in places like Arizona and Nevada, around New Madrid and around Chicago, and the East Coast is rife with them. When the power goes out, even if there's not a tsunami or an earthquake, you're going to lose power, and all these reactors are going to pop like popcorn, and Fukushima will be a faint memory in terms of the destructive damage it's doing. So tell us how you help people, Dave. What can you offer them?
Well, I can sell property if they need that, and I can help them buy a piece of property, whether they want to buy land and put a garage on it, convert that later, put a fifth wheel on it, fixer-uppers, whatever they want to do, or maybe a lodge if they want to do something for, more than a number of families, that kind of thing.
Right. So in other words, here's an option. Let's say I'm going to pretend I'm a customer. Dave, I live outside. I live in such and such a suburb, one of the inner suburbs of Chicago, which is Chicago and Greater Chicago area is a pretty big city. I think Chicago is number 3 in America in terms of size, and then it doesn't include all the burbs around it. It's pretty big, isn't it?
Yep.
So let's say I want to move there, and you're going to help them to move to Southern California. How can you help them move out of their property there, get into a property here, depending on their financial situations? You've got all kinds of novel ways of getting the seller of land and or landed property to be able to offer or support their sale, and contingency agreements and so on, so as their purchase may be contingent on the sale of their own property. How do you help them get out of their situation? Let's say they have a home they've been in 20 years, and they just want to not be in a big city like New York City or Chicago or Atlanta, and they want to move to an area that's not downwind of a nuclear reactor and not an area that's kind of going to be unpleasant if the climate does get considerably colder. Because all the scientists are telling us we're moving to a moderate cooling period, which means the Northwest United States is going to actually move into an ice age. And 180 years ago, when the cooling period occurred, the Thames River and much of eastern Canada and the northeast United States was frozen solid in a mini ice age. It's pretty nasty when your winter lasts 10 months of the year.
Well, I can help them find a good realtor in their area. I couldn't sell a property in Chicago area.
Right, but you can help them find a good realtor,
Because you don't want to list with a family member necessarily, because they may not be a good realtor. They may just have been able to get their license and they never really practiced it. And there's a lot of agents in the in the business, they aren't selling agents. You want a selling agent. You don't want somebody that just gets listings and doesn't really understand the ins and outs of getting property marketed. So I can...
Right, it's almost an art work, isn't it?
Yeah,
so you can help them get the proper type of agent, and you want probably a broker agent that's a selling broker agent that's going to properly get their property marketed and get near their target price they want. And then once they get, of course, their property sold, how do you get them into a property here in California? And of course, what I tell people is you want to get somewhere where you're within strike distance where you can drive to a city or a town or whatever, but you don't want to be right on top of it. Like I live outside Vista. I'm 10 minutes from the city of Vista, but I'm up in the mountains, and we're in an 8-home gated community. So if all hell breaks loose, we were actually relatively secure for quite a period of time, and it's very easy to protect ourselves in terms of the geography. It's kind of an ideal situation, but if things go longer than 2 to 6 months, even here it won't be safe. You'd want to be able to have a prepper community where you have a number of skill sets with people that are former Marines, Special Forces, welders, doctors, nurses, techs that can take care of animals and so on, people that like farming and hydroponics or, growing tilapia, how to take care of chickens. And a lot of these skill sets sound like they're really easy, but there's a lot of trial and error. I found that out with even setting up my greenhouse to get it fully automated. Now it's so automated, all I have to do is plant the little plants in my earth boxes. The watering is automated with a filtration system and even the fertilizer. So the critters can't eat my veggies even if they do grow. And they're in a controlled temperature environment where the bugs and rats and everything can't get at them. All these little details are they take a while to work out, don't they?
That's right. Well, like we have a greenhouse, and I put a gopher wall. I actually dug a trench and cemented it so that they couldn't go in the greenhouse underneath the wall, and because they will. They'll find a way in.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We did the same thing. We put a wire mesh down, and we put concrete blocks so they can't go through the concrete blocks to the greenhouse. And, of course, the greenhouse is actually screwed right into the concrete blocks so they can't do it. And we've got screens even over the top so the bugs and other things can't fly in there and get at our veggies and so on. So I tell people if you have a good-sized greenhouse, let's say 20 by 12 feet, you can grow enough food for 4 or 5 families. If you have chickens and they're laying chickens, if you have and I tell people have multiple sources of water. You're going to get maybe some municipal water. We have what's called Vista Irrigation District, but they're going to continue to considerably clamp us down because although the drought is starting to be over because we're getting some rainfall, it's going to take several years of excessive rain and even in order to correct it and a much higher snowpack. I tell people get a roof water collection system because you can collect a lot of water and also get a well system. But in terms of realty, you offer options where people can get a property where the property owners may even finance to some extent the transfer of the property to the new person. If they can't put a home on it right away, they can get a manufactured home or fifth wheel, etc. A lot of times they can get a starter home on the property if they're going to subdivide it. And you help people with even subdivisions so that if you wanted to purchase a larger property of several hundred acres, they can subdivide it to a large number of people and set up a prepper community, I call it. And that's what I want to sponsor is the idea that I'd like to see a prepper community within Southern California here, at least one of them or more, so that people can start to kind of plan, hey, if things get to XYZ point, I'm getting out of Dodge and I'm going to that community because things are going to be extreme enough that normal society isn't going to be tolerable. In other words, you're not going to drive down the road for a latte or a pizza. Things are going to be nuts. There's not going to be gasoline, and you're going to see civil riots and the government trying to do some form of martial law, which they're very incompetent at everything, including even that. Other than shutting down the banks and the internet, the government can't do anything right, including martial law. And which means civil unrest and civil chaos are going to reign unless you have a place where you're sufficiently far away from the craziness. Things are going to get very dicey, aren't they?
That's right. As far
Dave, what about in foreign countries?
I had a guy that called me that wanted to put some storage containers, and he was going to convert them into some kind of living situation. But I've done almost everything.
Yeah, those are if you're going to have you can do that with storage containers, but they don't have windows, and you do those mainly for bunkers. Those are a good idea to have some bunkers if you think you're within an area where you're going to have such extreme weather or the danger of radiation. But to be honest with you, I don't think those are necessary. I think what people need to do is, if you're in an area where there's extreme tornadoes, like tornadic activity, those are a great idea, especially have them buried in, like in Oklahoma or Kansas. You literally have not just a safe room, but a safe underground bunker. And when I purchased my practice from Dr. Kent Remington back in 1980, who is the Mormon prophet's daughter's husband's brother, I wasn't a Mormon, but when I purchased it, I had 22,000 Mormon patients. And he had a racquetball court and a 5-suite underground bunker with everything. I mean, it was like a palace down there underground. And if there was a nuclear bomb land on Calgary, and by the way, believe it or not, Calgary is a target city for intercontinental ballistic missiles because it's a major industrial city. Probably it's the fastest growing city in the western United States and Canada. It's growing at an enormous pace because of the amount of oil money coming in there and technology. But I tell people, anywhere in the world, if you want help, Dave and Gene are here, and especially if you want to move to SoCal and you want to talk about how to set up a prepper community, they're experts on it. They'll help give you advice. And Dave and Gene's number is 619-990-6050. Gene, we need to get you back on to crack some more jokes. We didn't have enough time today. So keep in touch and we'll get you scheduled up for some more shows.
All right.
And coming up tomorrow, Thursday, Tex Mars is on hour number 1. He's got some amazing new newsletters, and man, I'll tell you, he's on fire. He's got some, how can I say, bold things he's saying, but he documents them. So, as I say, we're going to have quite a show coming up. So, and of course, Michelle's coming up on Friday again with her firing line. Check out the new announcements. There's some new ones on Nutrimedical today, especially today. It's a very important day. First day in something new.